Mighty Hit Special is the second and final game of Altron's short-lived Mighty Hit series. This rare and obscure rail shooting series never made it to America, thus giving oddities between two releases. I will explain the details later. Mighty Hits is a video game series that plays a lot like the point-blank games in Giant Attack 4, but with loads of real-time rendered 3D graphics. What makes mission selecting special from the two is choosing a random order of the next three. Like usual, all the objectives the player's partner says to complete the mission. If failed, then all players forfeit their health. A bonus chance appears if they obtained enough points after 3 missions. Missed a shot and no bonus. The ending game is the second bonus, leading to the congratulations ceremony. Unlike point blank, shooting opponents' targets, explosives, or civilians will not lose health. Also, the game is automatically over if both players have no more health. No continues. Regarding releases of the game, the Japanese version has slightly improved frame rate, so that is not needed. The European version, which I am reviewing, contains objectives fully understandable in English, French, or even German. Since I do not have a PAL television, I decided to upscale the game to NTSC through a Wii homebrew application called Wii SX. Here comes the gameplay, the important aspect of the game. The ideal frame rate of the game is 50 frames per second, which is on par for smoother gameplay. No need for frame rate enhancements on the Japanese version. Mighty Hits is hilarious in their missions, in terms of originality and the inclusions of more madness in the special editions. Some missions can be very easy to do, perfectly aiming the center of the target and rapid firing the square button many times. What can be very confusing is looking carefully around the stage for some moving polygon for 5 seconds, then shooting the same one, but move to a different location after the blackout. Most missions are very understandable, such as shooting bulbs that are currently lighting, but point losses occur when shooting ones without light. Have an eye strain? Then be less casual next time. There will be many missions in the game that will give the player lots of eye strains, even if he or she cannot read the objective carefully. The harder the difficulty, the harder the objectives get! The Flash Boost mission is exclusive to Special, whereas the prequel had the player shoot the clock around 20 times as it moves every shot. Regarding controls, a Gun-Con peripheral might work for this game, but since I do not have one, I cannot show you gameplay of it. I am now stuck with standard analog controllers for this game. With the controller set in standard mode, use the directional buttons to move the cursor. Players use the left analog stick instead of using the analog mode. Square is the fire button, nothing else. There is no way to speed up the cursor but to play on the Gun-Con. Pressing anything else than what I mentioned does not work. Heck no, players cannot even pause the game. If their parents are calling on the players, they would just surrender and press select and start at the same time for a soft reset. Aiming and missions, they are the deal. The one that cranked me is the box train. If the train keeps going from tunnel to tunnel very quickly, I would use my time to move my cursor to the blue boxes, but the locations change constantly as my cursor arrives. Same goes with shooting clowns from jackboxes or tiny hags that appear in New York City. How long does it last? The game also gets longer if picking the harder difficulty. That will give the player enough time to go over the random missions, getting different results each time. This game, along with Sega Saturn and PlayStation prequels, do not have a mission training feature like the later Point Blank games. At the end of each Mighty Hit section, players are graded from A to Z and are evaluated by their stats through a radar. If the player is so perfect at the game, he or she might as well get a rank from A to M. The lowest and worst is Z, but do not get fooled by the S because it is in the low range. Here is Special's exclusive mode, the Versus mode. Players choose one of 5 characters who originally give mission objectives on the main modes. Certain characters depend on their size, so pick wisely, but players are unable to use alternate colors, optics, or use the same character like in Street Fighter or Tekken games. All the player does is aim the enemy polygon and shoot precisely. Since the bullets are enlarged, shots can always be cancelled if opposing ones touch each other. That is not so accurate. So find the weak spot if the opponent is not blocking it with his or her shots. Versus mode is a nice way to practice aiming and spacing skills, though players do not learn anything much from it. There is no way to move the character like in Call of Duty, Halo, or Quake. I almost forgot that there is no time limit for this game, unless you are playing the mission. If players are trying to select a mission or enter their names, they can take their own time to find out what their initials are going to be without automatically being chosen. Now that we got through all the hardcore mechanics of Mighty Hit Special, let's see all the casual mechanics and fan service of the game. If this game came to America, it would likely be rated T14 by the ESRB due to gory graphics, use of tobacco, and cartoon violence. Look at the opening and find out that some of the characters' body parts get chopped off. No blood whatsoever. Now we have the graphics. This game contains loads of massive real-time 3D models rendered by the console's graphics chip. They even run at a constant high frame rate to show how strong the Saturn or PlayStation can do. But the characters in the results screen for Special appear in pre-rendered full-motion videos, as opposed to the Saturn prequel's polygons. To get started, the prologue full-motion video shows a smoking cowboy, aka Poncho, entering the saloon located at Mighty Hits, the theme park named after the video game series itself. What he does is rescue a hostage held by a pilgrim. When that was done, the other saloon people wait and find out if Poncho saved the hostage, who is known as Marina. When he got surprised, the couple kiss each other until he accidentally got disassembled. He fired a bullet around the room, causing every survivor to rage, then do a fist fight, which collapsed the saloon and made Poncho's horse run for cover. There are 3 more videos players can access at the end of each game, depending on the course he or she chose. One of them includes the Cyber Pilgrim wanting to take over Mighty Hits, but Poncho and his horse knocked that bot out. Then here come the characters. They are human-like, but the weird thing about them are their arms. Could the characters be androids or something? But anyways, the whole game is Western themed, not world themed like in GA4. The Mighty Hits characters are, listed from left to right, Poncho, Marina, Volgan, Pitchy, and Fork. Their names do not show up in the briefing or the versus mode player select screens. Poncho's horse appears in this series, but he is unplayable in versus mode. His only mission appeared so far is when Pitchy commands the players to rapidly shoot Poncho's horse for a specific number of times until it exhausts. If players look carefully at the backgrounds, the air bottle mission contains Pitchy while the mismatching part shot mission contains Marina, in form of the picture puzzle. Those are the same images they will find on the rubric matching mission. Pitchy also appears in his balloon landing mission, where players prevent Pitchy from landing in the water. Volgan, who does not brief most of the missions, appears in the wanted poster. He appears to be the big cheese, though he is not. Poncho, who is responsible for briefing most of the missions, appears in the framed photo on the light gravity mission. My overall favorite character, Marina, is one of the only Mighty Hits characters to have different outfits and not wear her hat. Both appearances of her can be seen in both Mighty Hits games. Her outfit from the prologue was used in special briefing screen, comparing the 2 images I listed. Regarding her name, there might be 2 Pokemon anime characters named with an A instead of an E. The soundtrack is powerful. Most of them are pre-recorded music brought directly from the Sega Saturn prequel. The music perfectly fits the missions featured in the game, such as carnival music for the Jackhead Shot mission and island music for the Piranha Shot mission. Few of the music are Jimmy Hart's favorite songs, including the Bullseye mission using a combination of Fair Went Over the Mountains and Let's All Go to the Lobby. The results screen music has an alternate version when a failure occurs. Some versions of the game use incorrect music, such as light bulb mission music on the game set in time-up situations. What is irritating in this game is that there are no voices. Possibly Altron is too afraid to choose good voice actors for the characters.
For versus mode, no one performs their mission completed poses if won. That is something Altron forgot to add in. If you read carefully at the results screen background, it will display. There are many short games in Mighty Hits, which is the kind of shooting game with a gun controller. Pull the trigger and hit comical targets. They are so tough more than you think. Be careful and have fun. This game was obnoxious to not censor any strong initials, compared to many Capcom games that had initials entry feature prior to Street Fighter 4. How embarrassing to look at. I even had a maximum force machine in my local bowling alley that did not censor any initials. Two bad numbers cannot be entered, likely to prevent puns of other Japanese video game corporations. Not only that, entering acronyms of other Japanese game companies such as SNK does not get censored. The automatically entered initials at the record screen on option are taken from the first three letters of the character names. BOR, in this case, stands for Bulgan. Seriously? Altron really needs to bring back and revive this series to current or next-gen consoles since the missions rocked. The current rail shooter a lot of arcade gamers might play often similar to this would be Gaia Attack 4, though it involves in beating up monsters, aliens, and ghosts. Screw that! Mighty Hits focuses on cartoony wars and such. This game would be good practice if you do not have a nearby GA4 arcade machine. If a player has a friend over, try the two-player versus modes to pass time and keep outthinking people. However, there is no versus computer mode like the more recent fighting games do. This game is almost unknown in America, since JVC was too lazy to release it here. So if some other company could release any Mighty Hits games to America, then us gamers would be thanked. But we are now stuck with modified consoles and software that could convert PAL format to NTSC for games we could already understand by now. Unlike the Japanese-only PlayStation release of the original Mighty Hits, which favored Konami's Hyper Blaster light gun, Special is GunCon friendly and I suggest you pick it up instead. Hyper Blasters can be rarely found on online shops nowadays. One more thing. What happens if the Putty Ball did not have enough shots by the time up?